What are you gonna say here? I say this is like 4 feet wide, but we're like in the side of like a 1 foot, 1.5. No, not even 2 feet wide.
No,
depends on which space you're in.
This is like a 4 foot by 7 foot.
Oh, someone knows his feet.
Yeah, that was
No,
pretty
it's actually
confident.
probably
Someone knows his feet.
No, it's fine. Just stick with it.
Cold out, you take my coat. For when you lock up and walk out, I found sweet silence in your face. I found sweet silence in your place. Oh, you send me so hard, baby. You're such a precious heart. Says there's something in the
Sounds good.
Okay, just go for it.
Just go for it.
Well, I didn't prep anything, so let's start like
Go with the
this.
flow.
How are you, Thana?
I'm great. Feeling awesome. Super excited. Thankful you're here too. Your team.
This is audio, but we'll describe where we're at. We're inside a closet at the Bridgeland Riverside Community Association building. We'll see if that's recording or not. I'll step a little closer. Kyle's great at this. How do you feel in the closet right now?
In the closet, this is awesome. It feels like I'm in a Harry Potter movie, under the staircase, and Harry Potter does big things, so I'm hoping I do the same.
Well, I guess we'll start with this. You are here because you're about to run for the Provincial Green Party of Canada. Yeah.
Alberta.
Yeah, Alberta. I know, for Alberta. Then how did you get involved with that? Why are you doing it? And what's to expect here?
Yeah, I've actually been involved with the Green Party for a long time now, both federally and provincially. I decided to get involved because I sense a huge urgency in the issues that are presented to us today, and I feel like if nobody stands up, then might as well be me.
What's interesting is we don't know each other politically.
No.
We actually met each other on Stephen Avenue.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Of course I do.
Okay.
I was holding my camera, you were holding your camera. Like, oh, cool. And you're snapping pictures of me. You thinking that I didn't know. But yeah, that's how we met, was through photography. It was awesome.
The longer I shoot on the street, the more I realize I have absolutely no tact. I'm not sly at all. Or slick. Yeah. And you were all hip. You weren't in a suit.
No,
You were,
no.
in your street urban gear.
Streetwear, yeah.
Were you shooting the model that day? I can't remember.
Yeah, I was, actually.
I mean, she or he wasn't there, but
yeah,
we
at
talked
Bankers
about
Hall.
it. And then was that Noisy Bouquet?
Yeah, with the Noisy Bouquet group. And actually, they're going to be here tonight as well, doing some videography. But yeah, that they're the ones who really got me into photography and got me to meet really awesome people and creative people like you.
It was funny because, we tagged each other on Instagram and then
Yeah.
ran into each other at like Marta Loop and just all over the city. And then I found out you're an engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're an
Environmental engineering, yeah.
which is kind of funny because I thought you were some thuggy street photography kid.
Yeah.
And then we sat down for that coffee, and it turns out you're from Ottawa.
Yeah, I was actually born in Quebec. And then I grew up in Ottawa and went to school at University of Guelph. And then I ended up here for work.
That makes us, a little bit closer since I'm from Toronto. But
Yeah.
how long have you been here in Calgary?
I've been here 6 years and almost a month now.
So one of the things that we're going to try to do with perspectives, I mean, we have, but we're going to do it more explicitly, is just try to drive everything back to Calgary. So although
Yeah.
you are running for the provincial, my thought is to ask you then today about your relationship, either through politics, through photography, or just generally with Calgary at large. How you feel about the city and where are we at?
Yeah, I absolutely love Calgary. And you know what? When I was applying for jobs from the University of Guelph to coming here, Calgary is the only city that I applied to. I wanted to be close to the mountains, like pretty much in our backyards here, but also wanted a city that was vibrant. I feel like the art scene here and the music scene is really, really growing, and I wanted to be part of that change. But I also moved to Calgary because I saw it as a huge opportunity in the energy sector. And a lot of people do say that, but They say it in terms of oil and gas, and I see it as an opportunity to diversify. And actually, I wanted to come here to help the city and help the province see that there could be a lot more than what we see today in the news and the media and in the industry.
So I guess you had political perception, aspirations, even selecting Calgary to come here.
Absolutely. And I did ever since I was in high school, which was about, I don't want to age myself here, but, 13, 14 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, too, to think about, your relationship coming here, having this political aspirations, working in the energy sector as an engineer, and then what's your photography background? Like, were you shooting before in Ottawa, or did that all start here?
That all started in Calgary, and my girlfriend decided to buy me a camera for my birthday one year, which is, I thought, a crazy gift. It's huge. And then all of a sudden I picked it up, and it just clicked, metaphorically and physically clicked. Yeah. And then I started posting pictures onto Instagram. I started meeting so many cool photographers, including yourself. Well, we met on the streets, but we chatted on Instagram afterwards. But that's how I met the boys from Noisy Bouquet, and then we started forming something that is huge now, absolutely exploded. And I still remain friends with them, and they've taught me everything I know about photography. So kudos to them. Yeah, big time.
No, it's cool. I didn't know much about Noisy Book. I mean, my whole thing is literally just being on the streets.
Yeah.
At least at that time. Now it's evolved. The Perspectives movement is a little bit different. I guess it's different in that it's slightly more organized and widening, because I want to just meet all creatives. And even today, like I want to speak to you as a photographer, but also as a politician, as a person.
Sure, let's do everything.
Yeah, that's cool. The idea today is a short intro podcast interview. Then we're going to get you speechifying.
Sure.
Yeah. What's going on for the itinerary today?
For the itinerary, yeah. So we have an awesome performer coming today. His name is Maiwa, and he's bringing his buddy Ben Lawson, who's going to be playing some acoustic guitar. Now, Maiwa actually met through 10 so another arts platform there. And he's an awesome R&B singer here with a super smooth voice, and he's here just to show a bit of support and also to show you guys his music too. So that's number one. After that, we have the leader of the Green Party coming to do a land acknowledgement, and also to do a little speech. We also have a special video message from the federal leader, Elizabeth May, just showing some support to our campaign as well. And then I'll be speaking for a little bit, and then we'll mingle with the audience, answer some of their questions, and then we'll close it off with Maiwa and Ben again with some music.
Okay, cool. We want to do a little bit of a Q&A with the guests. Maybe we'll do it in the mingling session instead of waiting for after the musician. But
yeah, definitely.
What's your feeling about who's coming and how many people? Is it going to be all young hippies, old hippies?
You know what? At first, we did have tons of people coming, but now the weather has been so crappy, right? It's been snowing. It went from +5 to negative 13, 14 now. So we'll see what happens. But I'm sure some brave souls will come.
You ready to orate?
To orate? I'll do my best. I haven't done a speech in front of people since I think the last election. So we'll see. Yeah.
What have you run before? You mentioned before, when we were talking, you've run politically before.
Yeah. So it's not my first rodeo. I ran in the past federal election in 2015 in Calgary Centre against Minister Kent Hare, and also ran in a provincial by-election in 2016 in Calgary Greenway.
Holy smokes. Yeah, this is going to be exciting. Can't wait to hear you speak. We'll get the guest reactions, and we'll see how you did. And then we'll give you a rating out of 5 stars.
Awesome. Hoping for more than 0.5.
We'll put on Yelp. Okay, and is there anything else that we should cover? Any kind of intentional messages that you want to throw on here before we close this closet interview off?
Sure. Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me. Thanks for coming to our event. Loving this closet space. One thing that I do want to echo from my campaign is that we've been trying to really run a positive campaign, one that doesn't involve bashing any other parties or candidates or trashing them. We're trying to show people that we can do politics differently, and that's the pledge that we've given to our constituents and to Albertans. So we're hoping that resonates, and I think we need to get away from the divisive politics that we see Alberta becoming, which is the United States style politics, right? So peace, love, and positivity. That's what I'm trying to bring the world here in Calgary.
All right, man. Good luck today. Good luck in the future. And like I said, my camera's available to you if you ever need it.
Awesome.
And we'll see how it goes.
Thanks for everything you do.
Okay, we'll chat later.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Awesome. That's so funny. Uh-oh, this thing is falling, man. Yeah, no shit. I grabbed it last second. Yeah, sure. Okay, you can
What's that? Matthew Moore? Is that good? I think it is acceptable, Matthew.
Cool.
Excellent.
Here's my hip hop album. Yo, what's up? I'm Matt Moore, and I'm here to say 2019 is going to be the best year. Hey.
That's going in. That's going in the podcast. Yeah.
For you guys to come up and do a proper opening for us.
Yeah, I'm a little vertically challenged. Thank you. Calgary in Blackfoot is known as Mokinstis. Can you say that? Mokinstis. I'll try that again. Mokinstis. Mokinstis is Blackfoot for elbow. We're at the corner of the bow and the elbow. And Calgary was always a place of coming together. Always a place of trade, discussion, meeting.
Welcome, Thana.
It looks much different on this side than over there. I wasn't nervous at all coming into this, and now I'm looking at these cameras. I don't know why I invited so many of them. Thanks so much for coming. In high school, I was elected twice to my student council. That was probably the last time I was elected to something. For now. But in high school, in student council here, I created this recurring event called Culture Days. And the whole premise around that was to get students to bring various foods and items from their homes and to bring it to school to share with their peers in order to kind of show a little bit of diversity and acceptance and awareness to cultures among their peers so people can actually understand where their friends were coming from. And this was actually really successful. And surprisingly, in school, in high school, there was 2,200 people. So I was really happy to play a big part in that. And where I'm going with all this, though, is that about 12 years ago, when I was in high school, in that time, I was in this politics class, and we were encouraged to take, those online tests to try to figure out what party you're most aligned with. I'm sure we've all done something similar to that, right? And to my surprise, actually not to my surprise at all, I was aligned with a party that was guided more so by principles rather than specific issues. So as Cheryl said, nonviolence, sustainability, social justice, ecological wisdom, participatory democracy, and respect for diversity. Parties lead to corruption, and corruption completely skewers our ability to have meaningful discussion. The Greens are different because they have the courage to talk about facts and truths that are otherwise inconvenient for most politicians. Inconvenient science is unappealing in politics, but the Greens aren't willing to bend the truth and play conventional tactics that deter voters from issues that really matter. It's time for the truth, and it's time for us to have a vision beyond tomorrow. So thank you very much, guys.
So, would you be comfortable introducing yourself?
Sure, yeah, my name's Simon Irving.
Well, my name is John Daly. I am the newly nominated candidate for the Calgary Shaw riding.
My name is Cheryl Chagnon Grey Eyes. I am the leader of the Green Party of Alberta.
Sure, yeah. My name's Derek Leahy. I just moved to Calgary a few months ago. I professionally run a project where I talk to farmers about climate solutions, and I also do a bit of farming myself.
I'm Miriam Mayer, member of the Alberta Green Party and the Federal Green Party.
Amazing. Thank you for joining me on the podcast. So I'm David Young. I work with this Perspectives YYC, which I created for Calgary, etc., etc. We're just doing sort of a reactionary interview from Thana's speech. So I have 3 questions for you.
Yeah.
The first one is trying to be as specific to Calgary as possible. Where do you think Calgary is successfully green?
Where is it successfully green?
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting because, I mean, we just had this new climate resilience plan come out at the municipal level, which is really ambitious. However, I'm a little bit skeptical. We'll see what happens and how much of the budget's actually dedicated to some of those pieces. I know we've had some really ambitious goals and targets previously for the city, and we haven't even come close to meeting them.
I'm a technical writer, so I do a lot of tax credit writing for research and development companies. The NDP has put money towards programs like IRAP, AITC, and I have seen that money legitimately go to progressing green technologies. And I think that has been one thing that I do give them credit for, even though I don't think they budgeted it too well. So I think we are leading a little bit more in that. And I think there's been some collaboration with the Liberals at the federal level to have an Alberta-based progressive technology industry. And in Southern Alberta, we obviously have more sun and wind than the rest of the country. So we have a lot of opportunity to move to a greener energy system.
I think that it's the people who are here have an attitude which is very progressive. And I believe that if any place is going to go green, it's going to be Calgary. We went NDP very quickly, so we're not dyed-in-the-wool UCP people here. The median age in Calgary and Edmonton is 35 years old. That is a very young population. Young students, parents, people who have to take care of their elderly parents. So these are the people I'm aiming for. And because of that, they are open to change. They are intelligent, bright, very well educated. Calgary has the highest level of post-secondary educated people in Canada. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know.
I knew that when I came here and I couldn't get a degree. I couldn't get a job without a degree, so I went back to university. So yeah, they got very smart people here, and very smart people are open to learning new ideas. And I think we're ready for change.
I guess just like seeing the uptake of solar as well as wind, it's just like this province has got a solar and wind resource that anybody would jealous of, and the people are making steps and advancements, even if it's just for their own personal energy use. So I think that's a big step right there. Personally, just like thinking about the farmers I work with, like I do work with a lot of farmers who do care about climate change and do want to do something about it, and half the time acting on climate change is good for your agriculture operation anyways. So I definitely could see it on the energy side, and just because of my perspective, I could see it on the agricultural side.
I think in the recycling, composting, garbage collection, that's the main place. And I think they look after the parks, and I go to Beaumont Park, which is very nature conscious.
And so then on that note, where are we unsuccessfully green? Where do we really need to kind of put our attention?
Yeah, I think there's lots of different pieces. So one, obviously the energy piece. So there's some really neat policies coming into place. So something like PACE, which is Property Assessed Clean Energy. I think that could be really transformational for both the green energy sector and for the city of Calgary. So that's one. I know it's kind of in talks and in discussion, and the provincial government supported it, but we'll see if we do it at the municipal level. And then, just kind of trying to increase the amount of green spaces, the walkability, bikeability, like active transport, green transport in the city. And we've certainly made some strides on the bike program and bike lanes, which is great to see. But there's always room to improve.
Well, certainly the tar sands gets a black eye. When you see images of it, it's obviously looks like devastation. We're losing species. We have healthcare costs being increased. We pay more than BC for our healthcare costs, and I think largely it's due to air pollution and water pollution. So unfortunately, we're tied to tar sand energy, and that leads to increasing costs in other sectors. And I think we can address that in a more organized way to actually have an economic, conservative argument for why we need to address our tar sands and move to more sustainable energy.
I think we have to stop being complacent and think that the government's going to fix everything for us. We have to take personal responsibility to affect change in our own communities, in our own backyards. And I think the Green Party is very good in that area, in that we give people tools to be able to help themselves, to be able to raise their voices, and to talk for others who cannot. Social justice is a big deal. Sustainability is a big deal. So these are all principles that are important to the Green Party internationally, let alone here in Alberta.
Yeah, I liked in your speech when you said you see someone else's litter. It's easy to say that it's someone else's problem, but it's hard to just go and pick it up.
Just go and pick up the stuff. And it's a matter of, you don't like the way something is, it's up to you to change it. Take that sense of responsibility and step forward. And yes, it takes an element of courage to step out of your comfort zone and out of your cute little cocoon and your box. And I'm asking for people to be brave and courageous and to step forward and to affect change in a positive way.
Gotta do something about those pickup trucks. I love pickup trucks. I've wanted one since I was 18, but the bloody things, they burn so much fuel, and everybody's got to have one out here. And I realize it's part of sort of the identity here. And, the electric pickup truck is coming along, but the thing is, just transportation emissions are obviously an issue. And might as well address the elephant in the room, the oil and gas sector. I get it that everybody knows somebody in the sector, everybody's related to somebody in the sector, and the idea of that just going away is terrifying. Guys and women have raised their families on that kind of money, but we got to come up with a better story here because it just can't keep going on like that.
I think with the transportation, there's still too many cars burning fuel. They don't have enough facilities for electric cars, so that's the place they have to emphasize.
And finally, do you believe, honestly, that reason can win over rhetoric in a political campaign?
I don't know. I think we've seen it in places, but we've seen the rhetoric also really take over quite a bit. So I think what Thana has going for him, and I think what seems to work is when people appear authentic and are authentic. And I mean, that's why I'm a big fan of Thana, is that he is really authentic in what he's saying. And he's running for the Green Party because that aligns with really who he is and what he personally stands for. And I mean, at the end of the day, he's a normal 29-year-old guy with a vision for the future that's about caring for each other in the world. So yeah.
I believe it can, but when you think of, let's say, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that when people are constantly in survival, just for food, water, shelter, clothing, they don't have a lot of time to be reasonable. They lash out, they're very quick to judgment. And I think with programs like Guaranteed Basic Income, where you make sure everyone has enough food, clothing, shelter, that it now gives them the opportunity to think about how I can be a participant in this society. So I think once we address survival, I think reason will prevail.
Yes, I do. I really do. And I think when people are fear fatigued, as we are in this province, we need another voice. We're ready to hear other people speak. We're ready for new voices, new talks, and some hope. What a wild and crazy concept. Hope, honesty, integrity. Well, the Green Party's got it all. And I believe we can make that difference and that people are ready for change.
That's a damn good question. Doesn't feel that way lately, to be honest. There's been that huge swing of right-wing populism. I just got back from Europe, and it's even scarier over there right now. No, I actually think rhetoric can trump reason. And I can't believe I said the Trump word.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I didn't do
quote
that
unquote.
intentionally.
Yeah.
But what I do believe is like a bold vision can trump all that, and I think that's what we're lacking right now. It's nobody's that better story I'm talking about. Like nobody's putting that out there right now.
I'm no great seer, but I'm hoping. I think I'm very inspired by the number of younger people that are more active. I was at the leadership meeting in Red Deer, and there were quite a few there as well. And I think that's where the future is definitely promising.
How about you, David?
Yeah.
Why don't you answer your three questions yourself? So number one, what do you think Calgary is effectively green at?
I will say that now that there's the implementation of the compost service, that's been a huge and exciting development for my wife and I. What we learned from our friend Toronto, who works in environmental sciences and in waste management, that the next part of that equation, where the recycling, compost, and garbage goes, is quite frightening. So I don't want to get into that. But Calgary's compost implementation has been pretty legit. I'm pretty happy with it.
Where do you think they can be more effectively green?
Well, I guess I don't know. I mean, after listening to Thana's speech about trying to incorporate like general science and like, you know, what we know about how everything is collapsing, that's a broad question, because essentially everything we do as we exist isn't that good. Yeah.
Breathing, basically.
Yeah. Exhaling carbon dioxide. Plastics, fuel, energy resources, shit, man, all of it. I wouldn't take those, though, and single out Calgary. So we've heard some responses about cars and about energy sector, but I think that's just the globe in general. So if I had to pick on Calgary on anything, you know what? I think it's gross that we use sand and we don't plow our streets in the winter. And we have this dust-driven city already by nature, and then we add more dust to it. And that's a cheesy response, but that's the thing that bothers me the most.
All right, down with dust 2020. Lastly, do you earnestly believe that reason can win over rhetoric?
No. What I think needs to happen is we need reasonable people to learn how to use rhetoric. Human beings, unfortunately, are not intelligent and socially. We don't want to know or act on truths, facts, or reason. We don't. Instead, as that one thing came in, this idea of fear and then becoming knee-jerky and angry very easily is the reality we live in. So what we need instead is an orator to come in and make these facts beautiful. That's my thought.
Matt, you want to say something?
What is rhetoric?
What is rhetoric? Okay.
It's all a dream. Fall out from being blown to smithereens. I found sweet solace in your face. I found sweet solace in your face.
an awesome interview with him in the closet back there, really nice and tight and cozy. I met actually David through photography. I was just walking through downtown Calgary, snapping pictures, and we stopped, we chatted. He's like, "Hey, you take pictures?" I'm like, "Me too." And he was kind of sneaking pics of me as I was talking to him. But through then, we've been friends ever since. And we were actually supposed to have a slideshow today of all the campaigning pictures so far and walking around, and all those pictures actually come from David. So a lot of the stuff from Facebook and Instagram, you can see, it's David Yin. He's the man, he's an artist, and his team is awesome.
I just wanted to say that this podcast has been brought to you by Media Lab YYC. Kyle Marshall runs this amazing little outfit here in downtown Calgary. And we wanted to say this. Here at Media Lab YYC, we help you share your stories with the public. Video, audio, business, personal. Let us help you take your idea to the finish line. You've just heard a great new track by a band here called Thomas. They are amazing, all in yellow, and about to debut an EP soon. They gave us the incredible honor of using their amazing track, Gracious Host, for our podcast, and I just wanted to let you all know that you should be definitely checking them out on Instagram, and once they're on Spotify and Apple and all that stuff, we're going to let you know. Thanks to Thomas and all the other amazing musical people that we're meeting through this project.